Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the BFG podcast. Today I am here with Denise, as usual, but filling in for Jonathan over that way. It's Liam today. We are here to talk about game one between South Korea and the Football Ferns. So who would like to start us off?
Hey, I would like to just jump in and say congratulations on the Black Ferns last night. It was incredible. It proves the point that women's sports in New Zealand is a thing. And over the last sort of 20 years of coming to New Zealand, I would always show up every year in the sports shop and say, give me a t-shirt, anything about women's sports. And they would just look at me like this. And then every year I would do it. And finally about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I got this. And to see Eden Park full, the country freaking out, I was just super proud to be a permanent resident of New Zealand. And I'm just really hopeful about the future of women's sports in this country.
If that's going to be the rugby, imagine next year.
Yeah, well, you have 1 million people watching women's rugby, you have 1 billion people watching women's football. So, next year's event is going to be huge. And whether or not we're going to get the same interactivity from New Zealanders is still up for grabs. But the team is here. They're fighting for visibility. They had their first match in 4.5 years down in Christchurch, and Liam went to it. So it's really, really great that Liam's on the show. So Liam, just tell us a little bit about, set the stage. What was that like, just even being at the match?
It's a real good game. I think we got told the capacity was about 5,037 people. So there was one stand, basically up the whole stand. That was quite amazing for the first match. It's the first football match I've actually been to in probably close to 10 years. Last match I went to was the Knicks Perth Glory game in 2012. That was quite a good game to go to this game. She got last minute tickets, so it was a good decision to go. It was a good atmosphere. Quite a lot of chants going on, the Ferns chants. Quite a lot of South Korean fans. They had a big massive pocket just bit down from me. And it was I think it was the Christchurch Korean Society. So they had a real good atmosphere. That was they did real well. And it was a game to go watch. It was a game.
Was that all general admission? Like, how did they get that block? I mean, that was like a prime block.
Yeah, it was.
New Zealand football, I would be like, no, I know they have a right to be there, but no.
Yeah, it was the first in, first served. It was basically sitting where you wanted. So I got there about just after gates opened. Got a decent seat about 4 rows from the field, so quite a good view. And it was quite a really good atmosphere. Really good to go watch.
Yeah, it was really the fans, the Korean fans, South Korean fans, the New Zealand fans, they seemed into it. So I was happy with that. So tell us about the game. Like, Blake and I watched on TV, but you saw it for real. What were the sights and sounds of it?
It was good. Look, it was the South Korean fans who've really put the atmosphere into the game. Just they chanted the whole game. We started quite a few chants. The girls, I think they really struggled in that first hour, and then I think they really got back. Like, once we really started getting into it, the crowd getting into it, I think really kicked into gear. I think it was your Paige really started off well. Even Mackenzie coming in for her 10, 15 minutes, she really put an impact in. Quite a few passes, quite a few good shots. Took us through 10 points now. 10, 15 minutes. It was real good.
I mean, Paige Satchel is a force of nature. She's incredible. I mean, did she on TV? She looked like she was just burning it up and going. I mean, what was it like in the stadium?
Yeah, she was good. Even in the first 10 minutes when the South Koreans were dominating, she was one of those players that were really getting into it for us. She had quite a few little chances she had in that first 10 minutes that we could have scored, but just unlucky defending from the Koreans. So, Paige, I think Mackenzie, she did real well. Michaela, sorry, at the back, out defense, she really started really well.
Michaela Moore, yeah,
It got a few stops, but other than that, it was really, really poor start of the game. But I think it got better as the game got on.
Yeah, tell us more about the match itself. Like the first half. What was the vibe like?
It was. I think they really professional at the start. They really had some quite decent runs.
Yeah.
The tackling was a bit hard, but it was some good defending from them. They had a few really good runs, really good passing and all that. We were just sort of, I think, just a bit timid and a bit scared to sort of run it and pass it and take shots.
Yep.
And then that first half was sort of just more South Korean first half. But we had our chances. We had our, Paige was that one player who really got into it. Even when Emma came off, Grace really was, up there, going up into the box. A few unlucky passes didn't go her way that she should have had a couple of ups there. She could have scored, but it was, I say Paige and Grace were the only really two players that really just stood out for us that first half.
I hated the tackling style from the South Koreans. I thought it was drama, and this is a strong word, and I used it on our private chat. Disgusting. Didn't like it.
Yeah, it was.
I thought they were way. I don't know if you agree with me, but I thought they were way too aggressive, and the fact that they caused Emma an injury for me, and the fact that it could possibly end their season or put it out for a while, that really got me. Didn't like that at all.
Understood. I mean, that kind of thing is all about the referees. And if the referees let it go, I mean, you're kind of at the mercy of a physical team. And so what's your answer to a physical team? Well, it's usually to be physical back or just be so good with their passing that they just don't have a chance to get at you. And New Zealand's not shy about being physical. They are some big, strong women, and even the small ones are just tough. So, how do I feel about a physical match? I don't like it as a general principle. I don't love it, but when the referee's like that, whatever you need to do to be competitive and to get in there, we can gripe about referees all we want, but there will be some physical teams in the World Cup, and I don't know if I expected it as much out of South Korea. I know I don't really tend to expect it out of Japan, but South Korea is just a completely different country, completely different team, completely different coach, and they're taught not to be shy on this. And they're all trying to make the team, right? These are the matches where everyone's trying to make the team. So, if they come off sort of peeled back, I mean, that's not good.
It just the fact that, they could have potentially ended someone's season that really bothered me.
Yeah, I get it. 100% get it. I think you're onto it, Blake. I think you're right on this one for sure.
Yeah. Just it's quite particular. I did notice that should have been fouls that was sort of let go. A couple of fouls at the back. It just she called a few against us. I think it was a foul. I can't remember who it was against. It was against us. I can't remember actually the player. That was, I think, just outside the box, and she didn't look like she didn't touch it, and it was a free kick, and it was just some of the calls she seemed to let some of their calls go, but would call against us. It was sort of one of those sort of games.
Yeah.
But other than that was, and I think even the first and like about the tackles, it was they were just some of them that's coming. You just like we have the ball, and then there'll be a Korean player like I don't know 5-10 meters away, and then they'll be there in a split second, and they'll be absolutely just smashing it. It was just some really just flying tackles just coming straight in and just very physical, especially for a friendly too. Is what I'd expect that. I'd see that in a World Cup game. like definitely, because obviously you're playing for points. But for a friendly game, when there's really nothing at stake, it was sort of what really surprised me.
So how bad did it look from a stadium perspective, the injury, Liam?
Yeah, I know TV sort of doesn't look justice. Some of the hits would go real hard. You can sort of see you just come in, from that quiet. Even some really fast tackles just straight in. It looks worse than it looks on TV. That's all I can say. They look harder. You can sort of see. You look at the players. It's hard to explain. It looks worse than on TV.
It's not hard to explain. Like when you're at a match and you hear it and you see it and you're like, wow, that's and TV, you see it, but wow, when you're at the match, you kind of you almost smell how hard that it was. It's one of the reasons it's actually kept me from not playing football. It's just it can come at you from any direction, and it is a risky, scary game, and we saw some injuries in the match, and that might affect the Phoenix, and that that is upsetting. Let's talk about the goal.
Yeah.
I mean, Liam, how did that look?
That was out of all the moments, that was actually quite a good moment in that game. I think we're really good sort of run up that wing, a good decent little cross from I think it was their winger, and then a little volley, or a little sort of like a back pass to that was their midfielder. And it was a nice little low shot in the back of the net. It was really well worked. Probably one of the times I'd actually say that South Korea's played well. A really well worked goal. It was well deserved.
Blake?
So one thing I will say is I find their attacking play really, really beautiful. Both teams were really high pressing, which I found quite enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
That's one thing I noticed as opposed to the games against Japan, they didn't park the bus as much.
Yeah.
Mm.
They were really they're really direct and really direct their shots, their passing, sort of just get the ball straight up and goal, and they were just they weren't really passes, straight up, just straight passes. Yeah, that was really, 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 really good attacking.
Yeah. And that goal was really nicely set up by them. I mean, every time you see these kind of crosses or these dummies go right in the middle of the field, right at the top of the box, you're like, no, because you can put it anywhere in the goal there. And that was a really high quality goal from them. And it's not a lot as a fan you can criticize around that, other than, you can't let crosses or those kind of shots in. And so if we had to talk about the Ferns, like what we could do better, I mean, where would you go with that question?
I think this is really, was it a bit more obviously match the physicality is what I'd probably say. Just sort of, especially in challenges, want to go a bit more physical. We should just let them through a couple of times. We saw a couple of runs South Korea would do. We sort of go for a challenge, and they sort of either just sort of burn us real well. Sort of get a bit more physical in the challenges. I mean, a bit more direct passing, a bit more chances. I think a bit more match their physicality. What I'd say. Give us more.
I mean, I think every line just has to get a bit better. I can't go, oh, this line is like this and this. I mean, the midfield has to kind of control things, and they have to get these quality passes into the midfields, and get them out to the wingers, and then cross them in. I think it's just I just want these athletes to play more, and they look better than the last matches, in that they feel like they're a little bit more like, oh, if someone passes here, I know that this person will be here.
Yeah.
And so that the passes just need to be quicker, and they just need to know each other a bit more. I think that's coming. I mean, like I said, South Korea is a good team for them to play. It's right in their wheelhouse around FIFA rankings. And if they beat them, that means they've done something good. Anything else on that topic?
After yesterday, they could be a fourth in the cup, the World Cup. They look promising.
They do look promising, Korea. They didn't have their superstars. G is like, I mean, she plays for Chelsea or she retired from Chelsea, but I think she's playing for this World Cup. I mean, they have a couple really, really awesome athletes on that team. And fourth is I don't know if I agree with fourth, but I agree that they're better than 17th.
But if they can play like that without their stars, oh boy.
They're good.
Yeah.
But I'd even say if we can, well, that last 3 minutes and that 50 minutes we had, if we can turn that into a whole sort of the whole game, because we did have a couple, we did that couple of shots off the post.
Yep.
I think actually we all thought it was a goal. It was just off the just one of the shot. I can't remember what was the shot, just off the post. That was good. So we can convert that to a whole game effort. We'll have a chance. We can do better.
Yeah, I mean they switched it. They flipped the switch. They said we're going to change our formation. We're going to like power up the field. I got my wish. I got Katie Bowen, who is a center back, a winger, and she was suddenly like right up there in the forwards. They switched on like into goal scoring mode.
Yeah.
And I have to commend them for just being brave, like not giving up. I've seen a couple matches lately where teams just last few minutes, like, okay, well, we're not going to win this. Ferns were not like that. They were like, we want to win this. This game matters. These are our fans. We want to perform. These are our family. Katie Bowen was like freaking out at everyone. Like Katie Bowen's composed. She's like, really like they were trying to do this and will this goal. It didn't happen, but I actually applaud their effort.
Yeah, even for a friendly, it was good. It was, first time at home in 4.5 years. You might not have won. Even going for a draw would have been amazing.
Yeah.
That we got something. 4 years. It's amazing. Especially in a World Cup, getting more fans like this. Like the Black happened earlier. The whole country got behind them. If we do this happens next year, that will be amazing. And let's hope the whole country gets part of the team.
Yeah. So tomorrow's match matters. I would like to see at least a point.
Tuesday, I think.
I'm sorry, Tuesday. Match matters. I want a point. Because the next match is coming up against USA. They're going to have something to prove because they've just lost to England, Spain. Now they've just lost to Germany. That's a team that is known for losing right before a match to New Zealand and freaking out and like seeing what they can do to pound a lesser team. So, for their own confidence, the Ferns really need something going on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Are you going to try and get them that too for us, Liam?
I'm gonna try. I not very promising. I will look at going to it. It depends, but yeah, it'll be a good match, go to. Yeah.
And the amount of South Korean support, by the way, that was really cool.
That was I'm surprised. I was really surprised. There was a crowd like that. That was yeah. So it's supposed to took basically a half a section of that stand was actually quite cool. And they had the red those red the blow up little bang stick things the blow up little I just got my head. You bang them. And that,
I don't know. They're like big. I don't know.
like
Pieces of licorice you banging together. Red licorice.
Cheez-Its
or something. Red Cheez-Its. Boom.
It was cool. Like they were really getting into it. And it was really good atmosphere.
See, I get insanely competitive around that stuff. I'm like, no, like New Zealand, don't let Americans in like the front row. I don't know what you need to do, but keep us away because because I want the Kiwi, I want the Football Ferns to feel their country behind them. The Black Ferns got it, and at that match you can feel it. There were 5,000 people there. They weren't all people rooting for South Korea, but I do want that like close vibe where they can like really hear us. So it's you can't change who people want to root for, and I'm thrilled that the stadium was filled, with lots of fans. I'm just a fan for the Ferns, and I want the Ferns to know we exist.
And just finally, I was disappointed that they didn't open more of the stadium, because I reckon they would have got a lot more if they'd opened it all up.
They would have. I've especially coming from rugby background, it's just been sort of witness for a football atmosphere. It feels rugby's it's not you don't get much from the atmosphere, but football it's chants and everyone involved in it real well. It's quite real different. Was real different for me.
I heard that but haven't been able to get this verified at all. Like, I heard that there were so many people there that they ran out of open seats, so they had to turn people away.
I did. Yeah, I did notice quite a few. There was it filled up real quick. It really filled up. So I obviously I wouldn't know. I wasn't told, but by looking at the stand behind part of the stand behind me, it was full. It was shocking. So I wouldn't be surprised that happened.
What you find with all these matches, it takes a lot longer to get into the stadium than you will ever think it does.
Yeah.
And even if you show up, a long time before, you still have to park. You still have to go through the ticketing process and be examined. And so all those things are important for Kiwis to know to get into the stadium. It's not like you don't know these things, but you don't expect it at a women's match.
Yeah.
And show up early to these matches. Get great.
Well, unless there's any other comments, we can leave it there for today.
I'll make one last. It was also I also got to meet Jess for one of our group members, or one of our admins. It was actually lovely to meet her, lovely to talk to her for a few minutes. It was quite good to meet one of our lovely admins. So hopefully
that's great.
You guys and Jonathan, hopefully in the future, well, it'll be amazing to have a big admin meetup.
The nice thing about women's football matches, and also men's, but women's football matches in particular, is a great community of people. People are having fun. Like, people are enjoying it. People are there for the right reasons. And, come to the Knicks matches and meet people. Meet me. I'd love to meet people.
It'll be quite good. I want to go to a game. Hopefully in around New Year's probably is what I'm looking at going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear a puppy. Is there a puppy there?
Oh, that's my dog. He's just outside. So
dogs are always welcome.
No, we'll get his stump.
Yeah.
That's at the door, just pacing.
Okay, good. Well, we better let you get back to your puppy.
On that note, we'll leave it there, and we'll see you on the next one. We'll have a panel for game 2, hopefully. So like and subscribe to this video, and we'll see you on the next one, okay?
All right.
Good. Bye.
Bye-bye.